Hi, it's Wednesday, April 13th, 2016. I'll be talking about Half Past Human, Clif High, and the WebBot today. His latest Alta report for April came out. It's called Asymmetric Linguistic Trends Analysis. And I will summarize, of course, the report. I did purchase it. I'm not going to plagiarize, just summarize it. He introduces the report by describing what, asymmetric linguistic trend analysis is. And basically, and I quote, predictive linguistics is the process of using computer software to aggregate vast amounts of written text from the internet by categories delineated by emotional content of the words, all right? And he also says at the end, and I quote, predictive linguistics works to predict future language about, perhaps, future events due to the nature of humans. It is my operating assumption that all humans are psychic, though the vast majority do nothing to cultivate it as a skill and are likely unaware of it within themselves. In spite of this, universe and human nature has it that they leak prescient information out continuously in their choice of language. My software processing collects these leaks and aggregates them against the model of a timeline, and that information is provided in this report. So basically that's, and I close quotes, that's the Alta report. The WebBot is basically the part of the program that goes and picks the data, gets rid of data they don't need, and collects the data, the WebBot. And the reason I'm making a summary about this report is because he's got some very interesting information this month. Even though it's the April report, it is entitled Class 6 Rescue Impossible, May 2016. And by Class 6, he explains at the end what it means. It's like a Class 6 river, Class 6 river, and which is almost impossible, and you have to be an expert, kayaking or river expert to go down this river because it's very dangerous. So he's basically comparing what he sees coming, this summer, starting late spring, throughout the summer this year, in the United States and the Western world in general. And he says it's a very, basically an impossible, river rafting experience. Basically, they're going to go down a huge fall and there's nothing people can do. And he says it's going to start from May 2016. Let's see, we start with a USA pop, which is, the most interesting. And I quote, USA pop means the United States. He talks about other parts of the world, but I'll go with the USA because it affects, what happens in the USA happens pretty much in the Western world. Language about awakening is surfacing throughout USA pop entity. Much of this is referencing the reality of controlled politics here in USA, but a surprising amount of the new data goes to the idea of an awakening as to the dying credit markets in the economy of the USA. The data is forecasting that the student debt awakening is going to hit this summer, Northern Hemisphere. The data is indicating a digital problem develops in the governmental system such that payments to whom are lost and withheld. So, the other thing he says about the USA pop is that there's a lot of new language associated with gold in the USA pop, and their new data set levels not seen since 2007. So, and I'll summarize here in general what he's seeing. And I really recommend, you know, if you're interested in this, to, buy this report. It's at Half Past Human, and you can use Bitcoin or debit or credit card, PayPal to pay for it. It's $15. I mean, it's not going to break the bank, $15. I know some people can't afford that probably, but I highly recommend it. The gist of it, in my opinion, that I see, there's two things that are related. He sees, a complete, not a complete, but beginning of a complete societal breakdown in the Western world. A lot of anger with our leaders, and especially in the U.S. He sees a lot of riots and protests. He sees hyperinflation, even though he also sees great market collapse, stock market collapse especially, coming, this summer. It's very difficult, it's very difficult to predict the exact date, but he sees moves in the stock market, deflationary moves or collapses in equity prices and commodities. He, on the other hand, sees gold and silver becoming more and more important, physical gold and silver, of course. And and despite this deflationary collapse in the financial system, he sees hyperinflation, because he talks about, how our system nowadays of delivering services is all like last minute things. People, businesses don't keep stock, for a long time. It's up to the last minute, and he says it's going to disrupt transportation. The credit market is going to like implode, and it seems right now, that we're not going to see that, because we've seen since February the stock market, rally quite strongly. And yesterday, we were up 165 points almost in the Dow. So, up almost 1%. We're almost back to 18,000, in the Dow, and the all-time high is 18,360. But, for the markets, he says, and I quote, "The big one is showing up in the market's entity as the new data is accruing for the largest paper debt crash ever. The big one crash language is piling up new aspect attribute sets for equity plunge and stock plummet and debt default and carry trade failures." I guess, carry trade, that's the Japanese yen, I would say, and price fluctuation in bonds. The data is growing in the sets for stock/equity market movement that is described as bringing tears and squeezing the bowels. The data is filling with language around the idea of a record pace downward and elevator stomach heaves. Other sets show that the corporations will be scrambling to recover mere pennies as liquidity fails. So pretty, scary stuff. But as he says in his description of his work, it doesn't necessarily mean this will happen, but, the language is out there, and, his webbot has collected this. So what else he says that's quite interesting here? Let's see. And I quote again, this is under the markets. "The impact of reality is forecast as shoving a stick up the ass or arse of officialdom, as the markets and liquidity failures will prompt an officialdom response that will totally screw up the situation. There are several new sets going to the idea that the Federal Reserve response and the monetary crisis is going to make traders vomit and feel both unwell and in a state of unreality. So what else have we got here? Let's see. Yeah, another interesting part of the markets report. It says the data accretion patterns are showing that the breakdown of the mainstream propaganda press will be accompanied by the waterfall crashes of global fiat currencies. The data is showing that bizarre schemes will be paraded by government shills and speakers in front of the population as they officialdom, tries to get something to fly or be accepted. And then he continues. And this is more about the precious metals. The data accretion patterns are arguing for a derivative hot potato to emerge in late May or early June that will set fire to banks. Some 30+% of the new fire to banks language has both gold and silver within the new growth for the test. The new silver and gold references are themselves descriptor sets for subsets within this lexical structure. The gold and silver subsets are within this area. Are filling with money and interest rates as primary, secondary supporting aspects. So yeah, a lot of information here. And I'll wind down with this, quotation from the report. The new data for this report brings in new sets for hyperinflation, that within their supporting sets, they have new sets showing a forced revaluation of gold. Note, this may be just discussion at this stage and not action. There are some hints that this is a thing or meme being driven by the powers that be. Yeah, very interesting report. I highly recommend people purchasing it and reading the whole thing, understanding exactly what it is, because what I'm giving you here is just a summary of what he thinks is going to happen. And, and I'll summarize with his conclusion here. On the ride, and I quote, "On the ride our planet is taking over these next 2 years, there is no such promise of safety. We are in a class 6 temporal water, so very, dangerous river rafting. Tighten your grip on reality. It is your only paddle on this extreme and exploratory trip. Rapids dead ahead. Keep your wits about you. Rescue is impossible." So basically he's saying, things are going to get out of control, and the powers that be are going to lose control of the situation, and there will be, societal and market mayhem. And in the longer term, he thinks, 2017 is going to continue the same way as this year from the summer onwards, and longer term as well. Things are going to change. They're going to feel painful, but longer term, it's probably for the best. So yeah, if you like this video, press the like button below and share it with friends and subscribe to my channel. And I highly recommend Clif High and his website, halfpasthuman.com. And I would buy the outer report for April. And the other thing he's promoting, you can buy some old reports from the past, and he's doing a good deal if you haven't read any of those reports. And he also has a YouTube channel, Clif High. Just Google Clif High on YouTube, you'll find his channel. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.